What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and it's Saturday, so it's time to showcase some more community-designed exotic weapons for Destiny. Now, this series all got started with the help of the artist Benjamin Radiman, whose art station is linked in the description down below. Now, he makes these amazingly realistic exotic weapon concepts, and he partnered with me to take the ideas from the comment section of these videos and make them into these concepts. So the concepts you're seeing in this video came from the comment section of last week's video, and at the end of the video I'm going to go over the proper way to submit your exotic weapon idea so that hopefully you will get chosen to get the concept made for next week's video. Now, I would urge you to go and check out Benjamin's art station after the video so that you can see more information on the weapons featured today, including all of their different perks and even their backstories, and a bunch of different weapons that he made from last week's comment section that didn't make it into this video. It's also a great way to see what recent ideas have been made. If you're suggesting an idea that's very similar to something that already got made, you're probably not going to get picked to get featured in the video. Additionally, Benjamin has been uploading the speed builds for these weapons to his YouTube channel, and those are actually pretty interesting to watch if you're interested. Now remember, if you enjoy these videos and want to see more, please support this series by simply rating or sharing this video. Now, I think it's important to mention that although Bungie won't copy these ideas word for word, pixel for pixel, there's no reason to think that they won't get inspired by some of the ideas showcased today, and that some version of these weapons might eventually make itself into Destiny. And at the very least, the popularity of this series should show Bungie that we really care about our exotics and we want to see more in Destiny. Now, without further ado, let's get started with the first exotic concept, the Oblivion exotic hand cannon concept by Javier Ferdinand. Now, this is going to be, if you couldn't tell already, a void exotic hand cannon, and its exotic perk would be called Oblivion. A kill with this weapon that consists of only precision hits will create a mini black hole that damages nearby targets for a short time and then explodes, damaging targets for even greater amounts. Now, I like this weapon idea because of the word only. There's actually been a ton of different ideas where it has, if you get a precision shot or if you get a kill with a precision shot with this weapon, something happens. But this is the only one I've seen that says if you get a kill that only has precision shots consisting in that kill. So if you're on PvP and you're fighting another Guardian, you have to get like all 3 shots to the head. It's not good enough to just end with a headshot, then something happens. And because of that only stipulation, saying only precision shots will result in this effect, the effect can actually be a lot more powerful. If this was the effect of just having, again, 1 precision shot to get the kill, it might be a little overpowered. But having that stipulation that, again, all precision shots need to happen, and then you get this crazy effect, again, the effect can be crazy. It can be a lot more powerful, and I like this type of effect, creating a black hole where you killed the enemy, and if anyone is nearby, it'll damage them, and if you're not paying attention, if you may be close by and you're outside of the damage area of effect of the black hole, it'll then blow up, and then it'll do like a bunch of damage, so if you're not paying attention, you can get hit by that as well. So in total, I do like this idea, and I would like to see that idea introduced more into, into Destiny, having weapons that give you rewards based on if you can kill an enemy with only precision shots, for example. Now, the next exotic concept we're going over is the Loss of Sanity exotic shotgun concept by the Dubstep Game Machine. Now, this would be a double barrel shotgun, so it's only going to have 2 rounds before you have to reload it, and the exotic perk would be called Split Personality. Aiming down sights with this weapon will shoot slug rounds, which are single projectiles, but hip firing will still shoot pellets. Additionally, when you are aiming down sights with this weapon, it's going to fire in full auto, so it's going to double tap those 2 rounds as quickly as possible. Now, if you're familiar with Black Ops 3, this is actually pretty similar to the Argus shotgun in that, where again, aiming down sights is going to produce a slug round, a single extremely accurate projectile, but hip firing is still going to produce that shotgun pellet spread. And that's a very interesting concept that hasn't really worked its way into Destiny, and it really makes you kind of situationally aware and having to choose what you want to do. You know, if there's an, it's harder than people think. Like, if there's an enemy that's pretty close, you actually have to go through the thought process of, what do I want to do? Do I want to aim down sights? Do I want to get that extra accuracy and try to guarantee my kill? Or do I just want to hip fire and then have a lot more of an ease of use and have a lot more forgiveness to my shot? And it's actually a very interesting decision that you have to make when engaging an enemy with this type of weapon. And I also like the idea of being fully automatic when you aim down sights. It kind of makes you commit to that idea. If you aim down sights, if you shoot the gun, it's pretty much going to shoot 2 rounds simultaneously, so you really have to commit to aiming down sights and being accurate. There is no room for error. Now, the next concept we're going over is the Olympian exotic hand cannon concept by Marcus Rameau. Now, this hand cannon would have the exotic perk Olympian. Getting precision hits with this weapon will slow and disorient enemies in PvE. In PvP, hits with this weapon will cause the enemy to be shifted to the lowest agility in their class and will not be able to jump or blink away. Now, I actually quite like the effect of this weapon. I mean, how many times in the Crucible are you shooting an enemy and you're maybe 1 shot away to kill them and they jump away or they just run away or blink away and they just escape like the wimpy failure that they are? Well, with this gun, you're actually going to make all those players stand and fight. If they try to turn around and run away, they'll just kind of slowly walk into their own death. Again, they're going to have to stand there and they're going to have to fight. The best man is actually going to win that fight and not the guy who blinks away for half an hour and then slowly gets into close enough distance to use the Fellwinter. No, you're going to make them have to win that engagement right there, right then. And I like the idea of this weapon. Now, how practical is it really? I don't know. It might actually be kind of overpowered, but I just like the idea of tagging those hunters just before they're going to blink away with my Titan and then taking them out. Now, in PvE, it's actually going to be pretty useful as well. Being able to slow targets from charging at you, being able to disorient them a little bit, that will all be useful there as well. Now, the next exotic weapon we're going over is pretty darn interesting, and here it is, the Pella Aileron exotic sword concept. Now, this, right off the bat, I want to say, we need more melee weapons. We need more melee weapons in Destiny. The 3 swords and then the 3 exotic versions of those swords were great, but why not add some more stuff just like this? Now, the exotic perk for this sword is called Pure. Getting kills with this weapon, with or without the blade, makes that enemy explode for massive damage. Additionally, kills will increase recovery and agility for 5 seconds. Now, although this won't have the pure killing potential of the other exotic swords because they do their damage immediately to the target, and this would just be kind of doing normal damage until you kill that target and then it's going to explode, this would be a lot better, I think, for many PvE scenarios, because in PvE, if you're trying to use a sword, sometimes when you're smashing one target, you'll have a bunch of thralls or just other enemies closing in behind you, and being able to like finish off that one target, like finish off that Hallowed Knight, for example, have him explode outwards when you kill him, and then that's going to kill all the thralls that have been trying to peck at you while you're trying to kill him. That's going to be pretty darn useful. Just having these area of effect explosions that's going to keep the other enemies in check while you're going after the big bad guy enemies. I think that is a pretty cool aspect to this idea. And frankly, again, I just want to see more melee weapons in Destiny. Now, the last exotic concept we're going over this week is the Singularity exotic fusion rifle concept by Joel Smith. Now, the exotic perk for this fusion rifle would be called the Singularity. Kills with this weapon would create a gravity field that does slight damage over time, but most importantly, drastically slows enemy movement within the area. Now this gravity field would last for about 5 seconds, and you can't get another one until the first one has dissipated. You can still use the gun and kill enemies like a normal fusion rifle, but it won't create another gravity field until the first one has gone away. Now there is actually a secondary perk on this weapon that would make it so that enemies would do significantly decreased damage when they go through this field, but I think that might be a little overpowered. But the basic idea for this weapon's exotic perk, being able to create a gravity field that slows down enemies that go through it, that's just a really interesting idea. And I like the fact that it's not just damage. There's so many ideas that are just damage, 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 but this is just kind of like a tiny bit of damage, but mostly just drastically slowing the movement speed. And when I think of all the implications for that idea, like if you're on capture and you kill an enemy on a flag and it creates the gravity field, all the other nearby enemies at that flag are going to be slowed as they try to like run away, and then your team can just pick them off. It's just a really, really interesting and dynamic ability. And this weapon could single-handedly change map flow. If you kill an enemy in a doorway, it's going to prevent other enemies from wanting to go through that doorway. They're going to have to find another way around. It's just going to be a really interesting weapon to utilize in PvP. Now in PvE, I can see this also being quite useful. Killing, the first thrall to come out of a door where all the other ones are coming out of, you can then just pick them off. There won't be a giant, charge of enemies all spawning out of a spawn location, because they're all going to be drastically slowed and damaged a little bit. Now that's going to be it for this week's exotic concepts. Now if you want to submit your idea for an exotic concept that Benjamin will look at and hopefully choose for a concept to be made after, what you need to do is reply to the comment that I will leave in the comment section down below. It's going to be the start of a thread, and it's going to give you all the instructions of how to submit your idea in the proper format. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'd really recommend going to his art station first and checking all of the recent guns he's done so far, because again, if you're suggesting ideas that have just recently been made, you're probably not going to get picked, and really ensure that you have a unique idea. Now if your idea doesn't get chosen, don't worry, there's always next week. Now the amount of interest for this series has just been insane. A comment thread with a 500 reply allowance will fill up in less than a day. And if you're going to take the time to submit your idea for an exotic weapon, please also show your support by liking this video. It helps out both myself and the artist Benjamin. Now that's it for the video. Again, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more Destiny content, and especially if you want to keep up to date with this series, please remember to slap that subscribe button. Now if you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.